that's like almost as thin as paper in some areas here. Definitely looks real nice.
My landcruiser, or should I say the corrosion cruiser, has definitely been the most amount of repair work that I've done on a truck. Why? It's because of rust, and more rust.
The first task is simple, as I continue to lie to myself in this video. Remove the rusty sections of the frame, focusing mainly on the ass end of the truck. It's really the in-between that makes things very complicated.
Seized bolts, a very holy fuel filler neck, thinned out frame sections,
Like it's paper thin around this area.
and a lot of metal sacrificed to the salt god. As many of you know, rust likes to hide behind things. This body section was hidden behind the plastic bumper. So, in order to surgically remove as much of the rust damaged sections, I used 5 different methods for cutting all of this stuff out. The angle grinder, the reciprocating saw, my plasma cutter, this tool called the nibbler that cuts thin gauge steel very quickly and very easily, and a manual hacksaw specifically used for the fuel filler neck, so I don't create a spark and blow myself up.
Now, I will warn you, if you are working on an old rusty truck, I would highly advise to be very careful with your angle grinder and your plasma cutter when you're working near the fuel system, because fumes are very flammable and you don't want yourself getting blown to smithereens.
So I cleaned up the cuts on the body and welded on a body patch plate. It's not the greatest looking patch, but it does achieve the higher clearances than the original body panel, and it's definitely 1,000 times better than the rust monstrosity that you saw before. Since this section of the body is going to be hidden by the rear bumper anyways, I didn't bother doing any type of bondo and instead just primed and painted the area. I went ahead and used my 3D scanner to scan the whole rear end of the landcruiser. This is the same 3D scanner that I used for the Tacoma when I designed my shackle flip kit. This 3D scanner generated a point cloud, which I then used to render both an OBJ and an STL file. Why 2 different files? The STL files allowed me to create designs off of the generated surfaces, while the OBJ files keep the aesthetics and the colors of the scan, but it actually isn't directly usable when it came to designing. From the STL file, I designed some rough mounting points for the frame and used simple solid extrusion, which has the same dimensions as the steel tubing stocks in my local steel mill, so that I can create a rough idea of the prototype, which I then posted on my Instagram. The idea is to have this welded directly to the frame instead of bolted on, so that all the stresses are distributed among larger areas on the frame instead of just the fastening points.
Now, after taking some of your design inputs, specifically Diego, Tony, and Todd, I made 3 design changes.
Number 1, smaller hoops. Number 2, adding skid plates. And number 3, adding some reinforcing gussets. I also wanted a swing out for the spare tire storage with molly panels for gear and a swing down table at the back. This became the final design of the rear bumper. But remember that design is so much more different from the actual execution of the work.
Now, when it comes to actually making things, reality doesn't always follow the theory, the CAD models, and all the calculations. And you'll see what I'm talking about. So let's get into the fabrication.
I started with notching out the frame past most of the rot. Then I designed and plasma cut some mating brackets for the frame, welded those onto the truck, and made sure to use weld through primer as much as I can throughout all the welds on all the lap joints. Next, I welded on the hitch receiver to the main crossbeam and also welded on some supporting ribs.
I also did drill some drain holes here so that I can put my anti-corrosion compound on the inside there when I'm done welding. But yeah, also it's, I guess, just good practice too, because I don't want any type of moisture getting trapped in there and corroding from the inside. So now let's mount this thing onto landcruiser.
Now I tacked and welded onto the frame of the truck.
So I just finished tacking these recovery points here. This passes all the way through, so I know this will definitely not pull out during a recovery.
I designed and plasma cut these vertical plates where the tube portion of the bumper will be mounted and welded. And I welded those plates onto the crossbeam. The lower face plates of this rear armor can be welded on along with the top plate. These do act as reinforcing gussets to the whole rear bumper.
These two top plates tie this box tube to the frame, so it further adds reinforcement. And we also do have this tube that's welded to this plate, so this plate is definitely not going anywhere.
Now, it was time to bend some steel tubes.
I actually recently just picked up this Harbor Freight tube bender. Now I'm going to try out the idea with filling it with sand so that it doesn't kink, because these things have a tendency of kinking. And I know several people on YouTube have done the method where you mark like a center point and then you bend it at 1 inch, half-inch increments, but that's gonna take way too long.
I opted for the sand method as it looked like it was less effort and less work intensive.
Okay, that's not too bad actually. There's not really too much of a kink there. There is a little bit of rippling here, but for sliders, I mean that's not bad. This is a 123 degree bend. I was aiming for 120. That definitely saves a lot of elbow grease. So I'll just have to repeat this again. That's not too bad at all. Now there's the two tubes bent, and yeah, that's really pretty good for first and second time bending tubing. So now comes the hard part, which is fitting everything up onto that steel bumper.
So I went ahead, fitted and welded the tube onto the rest of the rear bumper.
This is the design from the inside. So you can see there's supporting ribs here. So this prevents this cross beam from basically flexing this way or that way. I mean, it just reinforces the whole thing, to be honest. I'm very happy with how this turned out. I did have to figure out loops for the safety chain on what I'm towing. So this is the idea that I came up with for the safety chain. This will be mounted on the back side of the hitch, so it's hidden and out of the way. And this will follow the contour of the hitch itself. And this is just extra area that I can weld on. But I'll weld it on and I'll show you guys what I mean. The safety chain will be hanging out from under the bottom. I'll be hooking up onto these loops. As you can see, I have it welded down here, and that slot that you saw earlier was basically to have a weld going through the middle, and then I have those two tabs welded to this box tubing here, so that is definitely going to be very strong. And the reason I have it tucked away is I've smashed these things onto some rocks before. I'll show you on the Tacoma. You see that? Smash that real nicely on the rock, so whatever hangs low, it'll definitely catch when you're four-wheeling. I mean, like, look at this thing. I still haven't fixed it. Now I'm going to be taking my angle grinder with this wire cup as well as this steel brush and basically brush off all the surface rust, all of the silica on the welds, and any of the splatter.
Now for the painting. I used acetone to clean up all of the bare steel.
Then I'm going to be brushing on this protective enamel paint. Going to be using this brush and just dabbing it on so it's textured. Cured for about 2 hours right now, and as you can see, I'm pretty happy with that. That looks great. Nice textured look on the paint.
Now let's hit this with some B-roll.
So I think this is a good place to wrap up this episode of the landcruiser build. In the next video, we'll be going over the frame cleanup, the rust mitigation and protection, as well as the overall swing out design. If you're interested in the build plans for this rear bumper, I'll be selling them in my store along with the DXF files, so make sure you check that out. It's going to be linked in the description below.
The build plans will have very detailed pictures, diagrams, and instructions, so you can clearly and easily follow along. And if you don't have access to a CNC, you can purchase those brackets from us, and that will be linked in the description below. After putting this project together, I realized that I could have gotten away without the drain holes on the main crossbeam. So when you purchase the plan or the brackets, you can pick and choose that as well.
So that's it for today, guys. Hope you liked this video. Make sure you smash that like and subscribe button if you haven't yet. Until next time, peace out, everybody.